home, waking up, eating candy, going to bed 2, 3 in the morning, some of them. And you think he's going to come or she's going to come to school and behave, cussing out adults. I was in the classroom trying to read to these children and I could barely get through it because they were misbehaving so bad. Some of them, not all of them, but a good number of them. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? All the more that these brothers from the street, we need you in these schools. That's why it's called a public school. It's open to the public. And if we would show up there, I didn't have to do it in North Carolina because I was already in the schools. Every day, that was my job. But now I'm a mobile therapist here. I go to some schools and the behavior is the same almost anywhere we go. Our children are out of control, setting the trap in the stage for them to be a part of the school to prison pipeline. They are already doing the math since we're talking about school. 4th, 6th, and 7th graders reading on a 2nd grade level. Coming into school behind, can't read. What can you do if you can't read? This is absolutely ridiculous. And we got a lot of people in the schools. Man, salute to my brother, Mr. James Way, who is a coach and doing what he can to educate and be a good role model for our youth. His brother, Mr. Proctor, I work with him. Mr. Leonard there at Jackson School. My good brother, Kevin Jackson, who's very businessman, but he took time out of his schedule, and many other brothers, Brother Elijah. And I understand people are busy and they got work schedules, but that is absolutely mind-blowing to go to a program like that and the white men outnumber us from going to teach our children, be a role model for our children. Anyone was there, especially early this morning, with my good brother Mike Dowry, Kevin, Dr. Vert, will tell you it was way more white men there than black people, black men, because it was the 100-man reading program to go teach our children. And in the school I was designated to, again, it was only 2 brothers there out of 7 or 8. In an all black school. How do you explain that? Do you see ants bringing worms to a bird's nest? Huh? Come on, talk to me. This is the animal kingdom. Do you see any other animal depending on another animal to give sustenance and guidance to their flock or feed or whatever you want to call it? No, they do for self. You would think that's awful strange if you seen a bird coming to an ant hill and bringing whatever food that they need for the ant colony to survive. We would think that's awful strange. We would think that's awful strange if we seen some other kind of animal species bringing worms to a bird's nest other than birds. Why in the hell was that many more white men there than our own brothers? But if I would have gave a 2-day notice that we're going to get together and watch the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Lakers, the Sixers, or whoever else, that's all I would have needed. And we wouldn't have been able to, you know what I mean. I'm very upset. And again, I'm trying to be understanding. I can't be at everything. But this was put all over Facebook. It was all over Facebook. More white men there. Very few brothers was there. Dr. Vert says, because if I'm wrong, I can admit I'm wrong. I'm just going off of what I saw. Dr. Vert says some of the barriers are the policies to protect children and deter brothers from participating in clearances needed to get into the school buildings. If a person has a criminal background, let me see if I can bring up more what you're saying. They may get flagged or denied access. However, we as a community have to stress the importance of this. Okay, Dr. Vert, I understand that. My question to you, brother, is no one asked me for any clearances to come to this event, because I understand what you mean, because I need clearances to go do mobile therapy in these schools. But I found out about this event, and correct me if I'm wrong, brother, I'm not being confrontational with you. I'm just trying to understand. I found out about this event on Facebook a month or so ago, right, brother? And I got an email from the brother that you gave me the name for. Not one time did anyone ask me for any clearances for this event today. Now, to go into the school on a regular basis, because I'm a mobile therapist, I had to provide childhood, a child abuse clearance, a criminal background clearance, and it was another clearance I had to provide. That's to go into the school on a normal basis. Now, today, for this program today, May 17th, no one asked me for no clearances. No, and when I was there at the school that I went to, no one asked them for any clearances. I didn't see it. They just popped up there, said they was there for the 100-man reading program, and they let them go. I was surprised because I'm so used to being asked for clearances. Especially with me being a black man, and then I'm a Muslim on top of that, so I get asked for clearances all the time. But today, federal clearance, yes, but today no one asked. I didn't see anyone ask for any clearances. But to go into the school system on a normal basis as a staff member or as an outside service, you're right, Dr. Vert, you do need clearances. But today I didn't know, no one asked for any clearances. No one asked. So where was everyone at? Sister Karen said, I work as a preschool teacher and it begins young. Parents are allowing the children to run the homes, but believe me, it stops at the door. Been in this field since 2002 and have seen different lack of discipline in the system as well as in the homes. Yes, it starts at home, sis, and it starts with the diet and consistent discipline. And that's where it's lacking. You can't let your child go to bed 12, 11, and 1 o'clock in the morning. When I used to do counseling in school, I would ask them, that's the first thing I would ask them, what time did you go to bed? One child said, I pulled an all-nighter, Mr. Sharif. I said, what were you doing? Playing video games. Where was your parents at? Sleep, out. God almighty. We can't blame everything on the white man. He is responsible for a lot of our destructive behavior. But at some point, we got to take responsibility. At some point, we got to take responsibility. And again, I think I'm pretty skillful at laying out systematic racism. All you got to do is go on my channel and see. I'm not saying I got all the answers. Out of the 360 degrees of knowledge, I may have 1 degree of it. But out of that 1 degree, because I'm getting it from the Most High and getting it from our ancestors that have came before us, I think that 1 degree is strong. I think I am pretty skillful in laying out systematic racism like Dr. Vert laid out. The barriers of us getting into the school. Hell, teachers. We should have more black male teachers in the school, which will decrease negative behaviors in the schools. But all these tests and clearances, that deters them, like Dr. Vert was saying. But I'm talking about today, I wasn't asked for no clearances, and I didn't see no one else being asked for no clearances. We were there at the registration. Not one time did they say, before you go to this school or that school, we're going to need to see some clearances. I'm surprised they didn't ask for that. I'm just asking, where were the brothers, and why were more white men there to go offer support to our children? If someone has an answer, I would like to know it. Now, on a long-term basis, to go in the school system as a outside staff, you probably will need those clearances, and that could deter our brothers from going in there and offering that support. But I'm talking about today. No one asked me for clearances. And I saw people posting this on Facebook, but then I didn't see. I wasn't everywhere. I'm just talking about it, the registration. And what I saw, them white men were there on time, ready to go give our children support. But where were we? It's very disturbing. Very disturbing. Our boys see absentee black men in their life enough. And they had to be wondering. And the behavior of our children, like our sister says, I always reference the show Good Times. They didn't have a lot, but they had family and they had discipline there. And that's why you had Michael, and even though JJ used to goof off, James Evans was holding that thing down with little resources. Hence is why they wanted to start the show with the typical stereotype of a single black mother struggling with no black man there. And Florida Evans, better known as Esther Rose, said absolutely not. I will not do this show without a strong black man by my side. And they showed how a family can be strong with a black man there. Dr. Vert says some parents are ill-equipped to parent the children they have. Some don't realize the destruction with no discipline or structure in their lives. Yes. Couldn't have said it better, brother. Bit. This is where the brothers come in. If your relationship dissolves with the sister, that happens. But I don't mean your relationship got to dissolve with your children who you helped bring into this world. And yes, a lot of them are ill-equipped. But again, I'm a mobile therapist. I'm not telling you what I think. I go into the homes. I go into the homes and the destructive behaviors and things that these children are being exposed to is apprehensible. I saw something on Facebook the other day where the mother was coaching the child to sing this song about how women are no good bees. I mean, it had like 1 million hits in like 2-3 days. How women are no good bees, and she was encouraging him singing this song. What does that have to do with the man who you thought was your knight in shining armor not being there? She is deliberately teaching him to be a Negro for the future. And then when he starts abusing women, getting locked up, we wonder, this generation, it is scary. So when I see these things, allowing children to play these fighting games on the video game, do you know the CDC came out with a report that the average youth, especially in black neighborhoods, in communities, they see and witness up to 16,000 murders before they are at the age of 18. I'm going to say it again because I have to study some of these statistics. The average youth sees up to 16,000 murders via movies, television, whatever, before at the age of 18. 16,000 murders. Michael Myers and Jason and all these crazy ass movies that they, excuse me from cursing, it's Ramadan, I'm not supposed to be doing that, but I'm so upset. I'm so upset of what I'm seeing. We are literally seeing another generation being programmed to self-destructive behavior. It is right in front of us. As men, we have to reach and teach them and be more responsible for ourselves, family, and children. Yes, that's a comment by Dr. Vert. But what can we do? We keep saying these things happen. If I had the answer, I would give it to you right now. Other than some of the things that we try to do, what is the solution to stop it? This has to stop now, not tomorrow, not 2 weeks. It has to stop now. We are losing into the look into the future. And if you can almost look at a youth and say, I can see where he or she is going to go in another 3 or 4 years if this don't stop. We are literally seeing it in front of our face. What is the solution? You don't have to have no master's degree, doctorate degree